I'll begin this confession with the admission that I have been living a double life, one that's almost too unbelievable to be true. The story starts when Benjamin and I were born, identical twins who shared an incredibly strong bond. We were inseparable, and everyone knew us as the twins. As we grew older, our personalities began to diverge. While Benjamin was outgoing and charming, I was more introverted and reserved. We were different, but our bond remained unbreakable. We shared our secrets, our dreams, and our aspirations. But as we approached our teenage years, a strange idea began to take shape. It all began innocently enough with a simple dare from some friends. We were at a neighborhood party, and one of our friends challenged us to switch identities just for the evening. We both laughed it off initially, thinking it would be a fun prank. Little did we know that this seemingly harmless dare would set the stage for a deception that would span years. We switched clothing, hairstyles, and even the way we spoke. It was an eye-opening experience, like seeing the world from the other side of a mirror. Our friends were baffled, and we reveled in their confusion. The prank was a success, but it left a lasting impression on us, especially me. That night, a dangerous idea took root in my mind. What if I could be Benjamin for more than just a few hours? What if I could live his life and experience all the things he did? The idea was tempting, almost irresistible. I didn't act on it immediately, but the thought never left me. As the years passed, the idea continued to grow, fueled by an unexpected twist of fate. Benjamin decided to join the military. It was a decision that took us all by surprise, but he was adamant about it. My parents were proud of his choice, but I saw an opportunity. I realized that if I wanted to pull off my audacious plan, this was the perfect moment. I could be Benjamin while he was away, and no one would be the wiser. The night before Benjamin left for basic training, we sat in our shared bedroom, the weight of my secret heavy on my chest. I finally mustered the courage to broach the topic. "Listen, Benjamin," I began tentatively, "I've been thinking about something crazy." He turned to me, his expression a mixture of curiosity and concern. "What's going on, John?" I took a deep breath and confessed my daring plan. I told him about the night of the party, the idea that had been gnawing at me ever since, and my desire to live his life while he was in the military. Benjamin was silent for what felt like an eternity. I could see the wheels turning in his head as he considered the implications of my proposal. Finally, he spoke, "You're serious about this, aren't you?" I nodded, my heart pounding in my chest. "I know it sounds crazy, but I've thought it through. I want to experience life as you, just for a while. I'll be careful, and I'll make sure your reputation remains intact." Benjamin sighed and ran a hand through his hair. "John, this is insane. But I trust you. If you promise to take care of my life and not let it go to waste, then I'll go along with it. But remember, this is temporary. When I come back, we switch back, no questions asked." We sealed the deal with a handshake, and the plan was set in motion. My heart raced with a mixture of excitement and fear. What had I gotten myself into? Over the next few weeks, I immersed myself in Benjamin's life. I learned about his friends, his routines, and his likes and dislikes. It was challenging, but I was determined to pull it off. Our parents never suspected a thing, and to them, it seemed like Benjamin was still at home. My charade continued as I attended his school, spent time with his friends, and lived his life. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the lines between John and Benjamin began to blur. I started becoming more like him, adopting his mannerisms, and even thinking like him. It was both thrilling and terrifying. The military training took longer than expected, and I had to maintain the facade for an extended period. I managed to keep our secret from everyone, even Benjamin's closest friends. The pressure was immense, but I couldn't let my guard down. But living this double life had its complications. My relationship with Benjamin's friends became strained, as I couldn't be the same person they had known for years. I watched as the real Benjamin transformed into a disciplined and resilient soldier, and I felt a growing sense of guilt for taking over his life. One evening, as I sat in my room, trying to study for a test that Benjamin would have taken, my parents entered. Their expressions were solemn, and I knew something was wrong. "We received a call today," my father began. "Benjamin's deployment has been extended. He won't be coming back as soon as we thought." My heart sank. The extension of Benjamin's deployment meant that I had to continue the charade for even longer. The weight of my secret pressed down on me, and I struggled to maintain the facade. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. I was no longer pretending, I had truly become Benjamin. I even began to enjoy some aspects of his life, but the guilt never left me. My connection with my own identity grew weaker with each passing day, and I couldn't help but wonder if I had lost myself in the process. To make matters more complicated, Benjamin's friends began to notice the changes in his behavior. They were concerned, and it was becoming increasingly difficult to explain away my actions. I had to be careful, but my grip on the situation was slipping. One evening, as I hung out with a group of Benjamin's friends, our conversation turned serious. "Benjamin, you've changed," one of them said, concern etched across her face. I shifted uncomfortably, my mind racing for an explanation. "I've just been through a lot in the military," I replied, my voice trembling. "It's been a tough experience." Another friend chimed in, "You've become so different. It's like you're not the same person anymore." I had no response. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized the walls were closing in on me. The weight of my deception had finally caught up with me, and I couldn't bear it any longer. The story continues, but before I delve into the next chapter, I need to take a moment to reflect on how my life took such a dramatic turn. What began as a harmless dare at a neighborhood party had transformed into a complex web of deception and identity crisis. My own existence was in question, and I had to face the consequences of my actions. As I sit here and write this confession, I can't help but wonder what Benjamin is going through during his extended deployment. I miss my own life, my friends, and my identity. I long to return to being John and put an end to this charade. But I'm also aware that the consequences of my actions will be severe. How do you explain to your family and friends that you pretended to be someone else for years? So, here I am, at a crossroads in my life, sharing my unbelievable confession with you. What would you have done in my place? How would you unravel this intricate web of deceit and deception? I'm open to your thoughts, advice, or even just to hear your reactions to this surreal story. After all, this is Reddit, a place where stories are shared and connections are made. What do you think happens next?